This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
This is A Different Perspective with Kevin Randle. A retired U.S. Lieutenant Colonel, Kevin Randle has been studying UFOs for nearly 50 years. Kevin has investigated some of the most famous UFO cases in the world and has been consulted for dozens of documentaries about UFOs. Considered one of the leading experts into the Roswell UFO crash of 1947, Kevin has written more than 25 books about UFOs, including the recently published Roswell in the 21st Century. Now, here's the host of A Different Perspective, Kevin Randle.
And we have returned from our 167-hour hiatus. This is really A Different Perspective, and I really am Kevin Randle. Today, we have Brenda McClurkin with us. She works at the Special Collections at the University of Texas at Arlington. And those of you who have been following the study, the controversy, the information about the Ramey Memo, that is the document General Ramey is holding in his office in July 8th, 1947, while the weather balloon is displayed there after the announcement of the Roswell UFO crash. And that information, that picture went from the Star Telegram, where it was from the reporter that originally took it, J. Bon Johnson. Eventually, all that information ended up at the Special Collections at the University of Texas at Arlington and has been there for quite a long time. And I've been working with people there for 25 years or so trying to find this thing. And when we come back after the break in a few minutes, I'll give you more information about that. But I thought maybe we just should say hi to Brenda McClurkin. Brenda, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you, Kevin, for asking me to be on your show today.
Well, I think you have some interesting things to contribute to at least the study of the Ramey Memo. Tell me a little bit about the Special Collections there at the University of Texas. I mean, we know about the famous Ramey Memo, but what else do you have there?
Well, the Special Collections of the University of Texas at Arlington Libraries actually started as the Texas Labor Archives in 1967. So we are about to celebrate our 50th anniversary of the Labor Archives, and we are the official repository for Texas AFL-CIO records. And our oldest union records go back to the late 19th century. They're German brewery workers' records from San Antonio. But we also started collecting shortly thereafter Texas political history. Then we became the University Archives. And in 1973 and culminating 1974, an attorney named Jenkins Garrett, who lived and worked in Fort Worth, but was also on the UT System Board of Regents in the Tarrant County Junior College District, gave the UT Arlington his Texana collection. And his collecting focus was Texas history, Mexico political history from 1810 to 1920, and the U.S. war with Mexico, 1846 to 1848. And his collection included not only book materials, but manuscripts, sheet music, sermons, speeches, military orders, graphics, and broadsides. And
well, I've got to break here and ask you a question because
sure.
This is March 8th. It's 2 days after the anniversary of the fall of the Alamo.
Right.
Did that collection include anything about the Battle of the Alamo or the people who were involved?
Yes, it does. We have 3 foundation documents for the Republic of Texas. including the original broadside version of the Texas Declaration of Independence. We also have the first newspaper account of the fall of the Alamo, which was published in the Telegraph and Texas Register on March 24th, 1836. So that's a dandy.
Well, and I'll just explain. A broadside is like a big sheet of newsprint that was printed and circulated, as opposed to really kind of a newspaper.
Right. It was the vehicle to inform the general public of the news of the day. Right.
And one of the things they did, I think Travis had written a letter from the Alamo. Colonel Travis had written a letter that was published as a broadside and circulated throughout Texas prior to the fall of the Alamo.
Right. In fact, that issue of the Telegraph and Texas Register includes on the page 4 a copy of a letter from Travis.
Well, we're going to have
begging for help.
Yes, we're going to have to take a break, and I promise we'll get away from the Alamo. Right. I say that to the audience who's tuned in to listen to things about UFOs and that stuff. We'll get back to the Ramey Memo. You can find more information about this at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com. And if you're interested in the Roswell case, take a look at my book, Roswell in the 21st Century. We will be back right after these words.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, Old Florida cuisine at its best.
If you're a seeker, don't miss the inspiring book Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Cochran's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers throughout the Americas. Sandy's initiations across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt, combined with her knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth, influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private readings, sacred international journeys, a meditative CD, and her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate your earth walk and create a deeper connection to yourself. Find this and more at her website, starwalkervisions.com.
And as promised, we are back. I'm talking to Brenda McClurkin, who is one of the people working at the University of Texas at Arlington Special Collections. And before we went away on the break, I had asked her a question about the Alamo, which I find absolutely fascinating, the whole history of the Texas War for Independence and that sort of thing. So there were questions that I had. And one of them came to me. There's been a controversy over the years about Davy Crockett surrendering at the Alamo. I'm figuring if all your friends are dead and there's like 9 billion Mexican soldiers in the fort, you don't have much choice but to surrender. But that's just my opinion. But the information came from a book by a fellow named De La Pena, I think, that was allegedly published right after the battle. And you had mentioned this collection, and I wondered if there was a copy of that manuscript in that collection, or did that come from somewhere else, or do you even know? Because, I mean, this is really getting down into the minutia of the battle.
Well, the original De La Pena diary is at the Briscoe Center for American History at the University of Texas in Austin. So I'd have to check to see if we have a copy of it, but the original is at UT.
Is there, and again, I'm getting into the minutiae, and you might not know this, there's a controversy about whether it was a forgery.
Right.
And I wondered if that controversy had been resolved at all. Had anything been done to actually resolve that controversy?
I heard a presentation about that at an archival conference, actually, and I have not heard any resolution to that, but that was a number of years ago.
Well, and that kind of gets us back to the UFOs, because there's been an awful lot of fake documents passed in the UFO community. And so I'm familiar with some of the processes of attempting to validate these things. And in fact, there was, and I'm going off on a tangent here again, there was a movie called Truth, and it was just on the other day, and it was about the controversy about George Bush's National Guard service, Air Guard service during the Vietnam War. And so I that all kind of plays into the trying to figure out whether documents are authentic or not authentic, inauthentic, and that sort of thing. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I think in that case, it's pretty well established those documents about Bush's service were forged. But I've gone off on a tangent here, which I am known to do.
To continue your tangent for just a moment there, I mean, a lot of the early Texas documents there's forgeries there too. In fact, there's a book called Texas Fake that talks about that.
Well, there was also one that a guy wrote about Davy Crockett in the Alamo that talks about an awful lot of the fakery going on in documentation out of the Texas War for Independence and the Texas Revolution and that sort of thing, that time period. There's a lot of that sort of thing going on. And as we look at other things, and we get an awful lot in the UFO field, and that's what's so important about the Ramey Memo. But you're looking for a provenance of the document. Can you link it to something in the area? And with the Ramey Memo, notice this brilliant transition here. With the Ramey Memo, we know when the picture was taken. Ramey is holding the document in his hand. There is all kinds of transmittal documents about the photograph, who took it, how it was taken, when it was taken, and all of that sort of thing. So we have the perfect provenance. The only problem is we can't read the memo at this point. You were going to comment.
I was going to say, I think there's even some controversy as to how he came by the memo, too, isn't there?
Yes, there is. The one thing we can say is the material in the picture is a weather balloon. The balloon envelope is seen in the picture. The debris from the Raywin radar target is in the picture. That's clear as day. We've got that. But the question is, where did the document he's holding come from? Some of the people believe that it was from the message center there at the base at the I think it was the Carswell Army Airfield, not Carswell, the Fort Worth Army Airfield at the time, later Carswell Air Force Base. Was it a message from the communications center, or did J. Bond Johnson, the reporter, bring it with him? Because it looks like it's a bit of teletype, and the thinking is, and Johnson actually said this at one point, that he had brought the document into the office and handed it to Ramey. He then backtracked on that when he realized that the importance of the memo would be degraded if it was in fact teletype from the newspaper office, as opposed to something that had been transmitted by the military. Mm-hmm. That provides us all with the way of getting to it. Now, 2 years ago, coming up on 2 years ago,
yes.
You, the university, David Rudiak, I was supposed to be there. I got ill and couldn't be there.
Right.
And a couple of gentlemen who were experts in photography and forensic analysis of photographic materials all went to the University of Texas. You helped arrange that.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what went on there so that I can shut up?
Okay. And this is the University of Texas at Arlington, sometimes confused with the other UTA, which is UT Austin. So
is there a rivalry there? Do I detect a note of rivalry?
No, but oftentimes we're confused. You just said University of Texas. I just wanted to clarify where you
I meant to say University of Texas at Arlington. You're between Fort Worth and Dallas, as opposed way down south in Austin.
Right, exactly. Okay. You contacted me, excuse me, and wanted to explore or have the negative scanned at the new higher resolutions that are currently available, and proposed that a team of your colleagues come and visit the University UTA. And the request was, we were asked to provide equipment by which the negative could be observed or to be viewed. And one suggestion was a biological microscope outfitted with a camera. So Dr. Jeffrey Demuth of the biology department was very gracious in allowing us access to such a microscope, and even provided a graduate assistant to help operate and facilitate the digitization, the photography of the negative. Your team also brought their own camera equipment and special lenses, but we also had in the library a Scan Pro microfilm reader, which I think yielded the best results.
So they took multiple photographs of this negative that was originally taken in July of 1947 by the photographer from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram.
Right.
The photo archives for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram were donated to the special collections.
Right.
At some point.
Along with the the copyright was transferred at the time of the donation. Yes.
That's an important point, because I think an awful lot of times these pictures are printed without the copyright message on them.
Right.
So
without proper attribution, yes. Mm-hmm.
I've always tried to make sure that, and when people have asked me about it, I've said, you got to make sure that you get the special collections mentioned there as the holders of the copyright.
We appreciate that.
So you hold the negatives now.
There's a total of 7 in the series.
Do you have all 7 negatives?
I believe we do. Yes, we have 7 negatives.
There were I think 6 taken by Bon Johnson, and then there was a 7th one we assume was taken by a PAO for the base.
Well, there are two of the debris are reputed of the weather balloon that your colleagues have said that we do not have. But the 7 that we do have include pictures of an intact round weather balloon.
Okay. So there were additional pictures that I guess are part of that package that do not relate to what was going on in Ramey's office at the time.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. And we should make it clear, because there's good people going to hound me about this if I don't make it clear.
Okay.
I believe that the material in Ramey's office is not the material that was brought from Roswell, based on the descriptions provided by Jesse Marcel Sr., by Brigadier General Thomas Dubose. His name, I wanted to say Twining, but it's Thomas Dubose. In interviews, it said that the material that was in Ramey's office is not the material that had been brought from Roswell. So when you look at the photographs, it's clear that what you're looking at is a weather balloon and a degraded radar target. And the information provided by 2 of the people who were in the room at the time, and that would be Marcel and Dubose, said that's not the material that was brought from Roswell. There's a 3rd guy that was in the room, and that's the other picture, the 7th picture of Irving Newton. And he has said that when he got there, that's all he saw was the weather balloon. He doesn't really know anything else about that. So there are those pictures there. You have those. These were scanned in various conditions, various lighting, various contrast, doing all kinds of on various pieces of equipment, and they ended up with a large number of photographs, didn't they?
Yes, they did. And it was, I have to say, it was a real joy to have the team here. They were very careful in handling the negative and very conscientious about the lighting, and they even brought a thermometer to monitor the temperature of the lighted surface that the negative was sitting on for underlighting, and they were intensely concerned about maintaining the integrity of the negative and not causing any damage to it. So we greatly appreciated that.
And one of the things that was accomplished here, which is really not all that important, was they were able to get the full negative. And oftentimes when we see these pictures published in books and things like that, it's only part of the center of the negative, you might say. And there's a lot of other details around the photograph that are on the pictures that they were able to secure at that time.
Right. They were here 2 full days. And I think we spent probably close to a full day in the biology department in their lab with the microscope.
And I should point out, it took us 2 years to arrange this too, because of all the things that went on ancillary to that. I'm gonna go off on a tangent here because we're coming up against a break in a few moments, and I just wanted to say that. And we'll get more into this a little bit later, that a website is being created so that anybody who's really interested in this can get the highest resolution scans. They can see what went on. They'll get a lot of information about how all of this progressed at the time.
Right.
And so that if they're interested in doing research about the Ramey memo or trying to decode it themselves, that's something that can be accomplished by looking at the material on the website. I'm not sure if that's active yet, and we'll get to that in a minute. So, like I said, when we come back, we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about some of the other things that went on, and I'll be putting up some more information about this at my blog at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com, and we will return right after this.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the four corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting the sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world.
And as promised, we are back. I'm talking with Brenda McClurkin, who is a team member at the University of Texas at Arlington Special Collections, where the negatives for the Ramey Memo are being housed. And I thought before we get to the website and some of the other things, I would kind of give a brief history of how I got involved in this sort of thing, which comes many, many years ago. When I began the Roswell research, we learned that, of course, there were these photographs that had been taken in Ramey's office, and I was trying to trace them down. And the original message, copyright material I had said that it was from the Bettman Photo Archives. I wrote to them, and they said, no, those pictures had been gone somewhere else. And I knew that it had been taken by the fellow at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, and I asked them about it. They pointed me to the special collections. I wrote to a woman there named Betsy Huden, and this was like 1989, so it's a long time ago. And she said that somebody else had just been in there looking at it, and he was the guy that took the photographs, which was J. Bon Johnson.
Oh, okay.
And I had asked if she could tell me how to get in touch with him, and she didn't feel right about doing that. But I suggested, if I send you a letter, would you forward it to him? And she said she'd be happy to do that. And she did, and he called me, and then we got involved in this. About the same time, I know Don Schmidt was talking about being able to actually read the memo, to read the memo. I think the idea was originally suggested by Brad Sparks in like the mid 1980s when they were looking at the photographs and that sort of thing. So it's a long history of that, and from that point, others have attempted to read the memo, including Dr. Rudiak, who you met when the team was there in Texas. And there's others. Bon Johnson had a team that he was trying to get to look at the photograph and that sort of thing. And there's been various interpretations of it, but it's one of these things where you're kind of looking at it and you might see what you want to see. You know, it's kind of a faces in the cloud type thing for some of it. I know David Rudiak disagrees with that. He thinks that he can read it pretty well. And the whole purpose of this activity then was to see if with modern technology and better capability of scanning the materials and everything that we had, could we resolve it to a point where it could be read? And some of it can be read. I mean, with the magnifying glass, you can read some of the words, and they're very clear. But the way he was holding the photograph, and by the memo, and by that I mean Ramey, and the way he was turned to the camera and the distance from him to the camera, I think one of the team members, Simon, said if he'd only been a foot closer when he'd taken the photograph, we would have a better chance, or if it was just a little bit more straight on. But you know, that was a thing that they were attempting to do down there with the assistance of the people there. And like I said, there's a website under development, and I don't know if it's up for public scrutiny yet or not. Do you know what the status is?
It's very, very close. It's very close. But I know you and your team were looking for a way to have a discussion around the content of the telegram, and we proposed to you that the University of Texas at Arlington Libraries create this website to showcase our negatives and the work that you have done on them. And I think it's a very nice collaboration.
Well, I think the point is it allows anybody who's interested in this seeing the best resolution scans and possibly download those and apply technology as it grows to see if they can do that. And there's just been some discussion about that, some of the latest technology that's available through Adobe Photoshop and that sort of thing that might help us resolve some of this. And it gets down to the digitalization, the pixelation of the negative. And the problem there is, I guess there's some dirt and debris that has accumulated on the negative over the years.
Yeah, it's from 1947.
So. And that kind of complicates the issue a little bit, but they're looking at a negative, and there's masking elements in the negative. The word I'm searching for is escaped me at the moment, but there's problems with the halides of silver and the way everything is clumped and put together on the negative so that you can see it. And it's an attempt to separate some of that, because when you get down to the microscopic levels, which they were looking at, that debris and those elements in the negative kind of disguise some things once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that as you were looking at it under these high resolution scans?
I was observing the whole process, so I did not look that closely because David was the primary person that was working with the graduate assistant in the biology department, and with Kathy Spitzenberger here in the library in doing the digitization. So I was an interested bystander and just watching the process and just making sure that everything that our negative was being handled properly.
And we should point out that Simon is a high-ranking police official whose specialty is forensic analysis, and Jerry has a similar background. So the two of the people on the team this is what they did do for a living, or they do for a living, and they've continued to kind of work on it to see if new developments will allow us to read it in a way that everybody can do it, so we all agree on what it says.
Right. And it was fascinating to talk to both Jerry and Simon too, just about their experience, and I thoroughly enjoyed those 2 days when your team was here.
This was kind of as a special arrangement, though, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't something that you guys normally do.
No. No. Not at all. Yes, we made special arrangements, and we're happy to be a part of this.
Well, the interesting thing is, and I point this out because we don't want people just showing up at the door.
Yes, thank you.
Saying we'd like to see this negative now. I mean, it was a process that took about 2 years to get everything arranged and make sure that the university was protected and the copyright was protected and that the negative was protected, and everything worked out that way. So it was a long, involved process that way.
Our digital creation department did the website, and I think they've done a fine job. So.
I would not argue that point with you. So the whole thing was something that was very specially organized to do this special thing. Have you done similar things in the past for other elements of special collections?
We do have a major website called A Continent Divided, which highlights our Mexican War materials, but it has a much broader focus and includes graphics and the broadsides that you talked about, manuscript letters and diaries and journals, and so there's thousands of pages in that. This is the only one that we've done with such a narrow focus. But we also have a digital gallery, and the Roswell negatives are included in that as well. If you Google UTA Digital Gallery, you can find that quite easily. But we're getting involved in more and more digital work.
But you're saying these negatives now, are these the scans that were made with the team there a couple of years ago, or are these?
No. Those what's up in our digital gallery are JPEGs, and the website that's specifically highlighting the Ramey Memo has its own unique website, and those have very high resolution images.
And that website will be up in a matter of days, matter of weeks. I'd have to check with our web developer. It's very, very close. I know I've looked at it, and you all have looked at it, and I just don't know when it's
it's up. It's up now, actually. So, should we tell people how to find it?
I would think that would be a very nice idea. Yes.
All right. If you go to library.uta.edu/Roswell, that will take you there.
So it's library.uta.
edu.
Oh, edu.
/Roswell. Let's see if it takes me there.
So the people want to see what, and the better resolution scans are on that website. Is that correct?
Yes, and it's called the Roswell UFO Incident.
in case you can't figure that out.
Yes.
If I walk in on the street and want to see see something in the special collections, is there a process I need to go through? How do I gain access to the special collections, I guess is a better way of asking the question.
The wonderful thing about these materials being in special collections is that we are not serving just UTA faculty, staff, and students. Our clientele includes the general public. So anyone can come and see anything that we have. So we do ask our patrons to fill out an application to use our materials. They're asked for contact information, and they were asked to provide a photo ID so we know that they are who they say they are. We will ask them to store their personal belongings. They can use a laptop computer or a tablet, and we'll give them the prettiest pink paper you've ever seen to write on if they need to take handwritten notes. But there are some guidelines in using the materials. Now, these negatives now are being held in our brand new cold storage vault. It's a state-of-the-art cold storage. Our negatives are being stored at 38 degrees Fahrenheit. And we were starting to see some deterioration. It's called vinegar syndrome with some of our acetate negatives, the earlier ones. And by putting them in this cold environment, 38 degrees Fahrenheit, 30% relative humidity, we're extending their life by approximately 500 years. So it was an $800,000 project that was underwritten by a National Endowment for the Humanities grant, in addition to other private funding sources. And we've just moved our negatives into the vault May and June of last year.
Well, I'm going to come back in 500 years and check this out and see if
you
still
should.
There. We're going to have to take a quick break here.
Okay.
And before we get to our last segment and chat a little bit more about this and maybe give some more information about the Ramey Memo. And I will put this information, especially about the contact information, up on my blog at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com so that people can use their computers to look at this stuff and suggest that if you have something you want to look at the special collections, as someone outside, that you contact the special collections before you just show up at the front door with your request.
Right. Some materials, things that are in cold storage, we have to wait 24 hours.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
And as promised, we have returned. I'm joined with Brenda McClurkin here from the University of Texas at Arlington Special Collections. And when we went away, we were talking about how the average person could get in to see some of the materials in the special collections. And I wanted to make sure that we got that in completely. You were saying that the negatives in this special vault that cost $800,000, this controlled atmosphere vault, it requires at least 24 hours notice before you can take negatives out of it?
Well, it takes 24 hours for the negatives to acclimate because they're in a 38-degree temperature. We can't just take them out and put them in a room in regular room temperature. So we do pull negatives every day, and we have a highly complicated system of making the transition. They go into a picnic cooler, really, is what it is, and they stay there for 24 hours until they come to room temperature, and then we can make them available. So it's always a good idea to let us know in advance that you're coming, that one's coming, and what you're interested in seeing, so that helps us do a better job in preparing for our patrons' visits.
So, like I said, I mean, we want to make sure everybody understands that, you're obviously willing to share the materials in the special collection with anybody who'd like to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But as a courtesy, you should announce that you're coming. You shouldn't just decide, let's go to the special collections today and see what we can see.
Right.
But make some arrangements before you get there so that you can see everything you want to see in the proper time frame. Let me put you on the spot here.
Okay.
Since you've had a passing interest in the Ramey memo, what do you think about the whole thing?
In what way? What I see in the photos, does not look like UFO debris to me at all. So, are you talking about the text of the memo?
Well, no, I'm thinking about mostly the whole. Is it possible that there was a UFO crash at Roswell and some of the well, obviously the material in the photograph is a weather balloon. I mean, that's a given. I mean, nearly everybody says yes. Some people think that some of the real debris is hidden among the weather balloon debris. I think Jesse Marcel actually said that they put brown paper over some of the debris and to disguise it and then scatter the weather balloon stuff on top of it.
Oh, on top of it?
That sort of thing. But I'm thinking more the general idea. You're not really a UFO person, but you kind of the idea that there was a UFO crash at Roswell. Is this something that you consider as being possible?
Well, I guess anything's possible. I don't really have an opinion. I'm interested in the historical evidence as a historian and an archivist, and documenting what's there. It's interesting to think about if there was a UFO crash, what happened to that debris and to the aliens that were allegedly on board. So it's an interesting conundrum. And,
well, that kind of spins me off into another question here, because you say as a historian you're interested in the history of it, but if you're looking at, say, the Texas Revolution materials, do you have a more interest in that kind of thing, or are you still looking at it from a kind of a different perspective, to coin a phrase?
Well, I guess with the Texas Revolution, I have a great interest in that. I'm not a native Texan, but I got here as soon as I could, and I love Texas history. And there's so many more sources of that information as far as the documents, printed sources. There's correspondence and diaries and journals and maps, and it comes in so many different formats. This is, it's a huge incident, and it would have tremendous impact if it was verified. It's the sources of that information are not as widely, I don't know what I want to say, widely
authenticated,
disparate, as it is for something that lasted for years. Yeah.
Do you ever go into some areas of the special collection and just sort of look at stuff because you can? I mean, that things that interest you.
I've been in special collections almost 15 years, and I drive 90 miles a day to get here, to come to and from work. And the joy of my job is every day is a day of discovery, from something that I haven't seen before, and to working with people to bring new old materials into the library, and just working with, for instance, your team. I mean, this was very stimulating and interesting activity, and I thrive on that sort of thing.
When, not to pin you down, but when you say you drive 90 miles every day, is that round trip or just one way?
Round trip.
Okay. I asked that only because back in the olden days when I lived in Texas, I lived out in Mineral Wells, which is where the Fort Walters was, the Army primary helicopter school.
Yes.
And so I just wondered if you lived out in that direction or some other direction.
I do. I live just down the road in Weatherford.
Oh, I was going to bring up Weatherford. The one thing I remember, you go to Weatherford, you had to drive around the damn courthouse to get to Fort Worth.
Yes, you do.
Okay. And Weatherford was a nice town, except they tended to stop some of our friends for speeding frequently there.
Oh, well, it's a wonderful community. It really is. We enjoy living there.
In the special collections, is there any other UFO-oriented material that gets questioned very often, or is this really kind of it with the Ramey Memo?
This is it, and really, of the over 4 million negatives in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram collection, this is by far our most widely requested image.
Do you, if somebody asked you to make prints of it and send them to you, did you do that sort of thing? I mean, not for free, of course, but would you make prints for people?
They can download those JPEG files off of our digital gallery for free, and you can download off of the Roswell UFO Incident website at no charge. But yes, we can provide a scan. There's a $10 preservation fee for that, and we do charge a publication fee if it is a commercial publication. But otherwise, for scholarly use or personal use, there's no publication fee charged.
So what we're saying here is you can get access to almost the best material possible on the Ramey Memo now through the internet. You don't have because when I began, we had to order pictures. Mm-hmm. And I know that Stan Friedman had paid someone, probably 20 years ago now, to go to the University of Texas at Arlington, Special Collections, and collected the negative to take it out to be scanned, so that at that time the best resolution scans that would be available, and then of course return it to them. And now if I wanted the Ramey Memo, I could send you an email and you'd say, hey, here's how it's on the internet. You can download it yourself here in a matter of seconds.
Right. Yes.
But there is a publication fee for that. And the other thing.
No, not if you don't. If it's to be used in a commercial publication.
Yes.
Then yes. We would like to be contacted for permission to publish.
Okay. And that's an important point, because I know a lot of this stuff circulates on the internet without the proper credit being given and the that sort of thing. The other thing I was going to ask you quickly, because we're really running out of time here, is you say there are 4 million negatives in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram archive?
Right. And it's we haven't counted every one of them, but we estimate at least 4 million, and some have estimated 4.8 million. We've got over 5 million negatives in our collection, and that's why the cold storage vault was an imperative for us, or we were going to lose our history.
What's the earliest photograph you have?
We have some daguerreotypes that date back into the 1840s.
Oh my Lord! Mm-hmm. And the Star-Telegram?
Not in the Star-Telegram, no. In our photo collections, yeah.
In the Star-Telegram?
In the Star-Telegram, we have negatives going back to the mid-1920s. They're glass plate negatives. And in the film negatives, the earliest date back to about 1935.
Do you have any Civil War photographs in all of that?
Yes, we do. And a lot of the Civil War materials we have some that were copied by the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, but a lot of those images are nestled into collections of personal and family papers too. So we really have a wonderful collection.
Well, listen, we're right out up against the end of the program. I was going to say the deadline, the end of the program here. I'd like to thank you for taking time to chat with us, sharing the information.
Thank you. It's gone by so fast.
It does tend to do that. And as you say, you can look at some of the negatives. You go to library.uta.edu/Roswell, and you can bring those up on your home computer immediately, if not sooner.
Right.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, you were going to say, and?
I was just going to say there's additional discussion, and I mean there's the original negatives plus the work that your team did, so there's lots to look at.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Brenda, and I'm sure we'll have a chance to chat again at some point.
I hope so.
And as I say, I'll have more information about this up at my blog at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com, and take a look at the other fine programs on the X Zone Broadcast Network at xzbn.net, and you can take a look at what other people are talking about on all of that. We will return in 167 hours with another show.